Hey everybody, Shawn Tubbs here. Welcome to my studio. I'm coming at you with another demo today. This one's by Synergy Amps, and I'm going to be demoing the Syn2 dual module preamp with the Synergy Syn 5050 power amp. Now this is a really cool design platform as far as the Synergy dual module preamp goes, in that it allows you to basically plug in different modules from different boutique manufacturers, and in this case two at a time. Here's the module here. This one's actually the Metroplex module, and it's made by Metropolis Amps. Now this isn't an approximation of, say, a Metroplex sound. This was actually built and signed off on by George Metropolis. And the same thing if you plug in like a Morgan AC module or a Soldano SLO module, or say a Friedman HBE module, all of those are not approximations. They're actually built and signed off on by the manufacturers, and they sound great. So there's a few different ways you can use the Syn2. One way is to use it as a direct recording device. So you've got an XLR out on this guy that has a cab simulator that can be bypassed. The cab simulator does sound great, but the nice thing is if you have IRs that you really dig, then you can use those as well. And I'll be demoing the direct out. The second way you can use it is to add channels to your already existing amplifier. So if you've got a head or a combo that's got a series effects loop, then you can add channels to that. You can add up to 4 channels in this case, turning your amp into essentially a 5-channel amplifier, because you don't lose the channel that you have on your amp, you're just adding channels to it. The third way you can use it, and it's cool too, is if you're just really wanting boutique tones but you don't necessarily have a boutique sounding amplifier, you can simply once again you can plug that into the effects return of your amplifier and get boutique channels to the power section of your amplifier. So it's a really cool concept. Now this one allows you, because it's dual module and all these modules are 2-channel modules, you're going to get 4 channels that you can choose between. One way to switch between them is simply by using the switch on the front of the Syn, and you can see it'll toggle through the 4 channels as well as bypass it. Now that's one way you can do it, and that's really simple. If you need to switch it via foot switch, there's a few ways you can do that too. You can buy the Synergy R5 MIDI controller. It's basically a 5-button controller that will come pre-programmed to do what I just did, but via the switches. So say switch 1 would be channel 1, switch 2 is channel 2, switch 3 is channel 3, switch 4 is channel 4, and switch 5 is bypass. Now if you want to change that, it's super easy, really easy to program, and I won't go into that. Another way you can do it is if you've got your favorite MIDI controller, it'll basically run with just about any MIDI controller you can think of. And the great thing is the MIDI in on it is phantom powered, so it'll power, I believe, the majority of the controllers out there. So if you want to be able to use, say, continuous control numbers, CC numbers, those are in the manual, and you can certainly program it via that. And because it has a MIDI through, you could also go ahead and stack, 3 or 4 of these guys if you wanted to, and program every single one of them to work. So that's it on that. Let's talk about the power amp for just a second. The majority of it was designed by a guy named Stephen Friette, who's a really talented amp builder, and he builds killer power amps. So I wasn't surprised at how great this thing sounded. It's 50 watts per channel, or it can be bridged mono to 100 watts. It's 6L6 power. You've got a volume control for both channels, and what I really dig is you've got a presence and depth control. I really like that on power amps, because it just gives you that much more ability to just kind of custom shape your tone. So yeah, let's just dig into these guys. Without further ado, let's check out the Synergy Syn2 dual module preamp and the Syn 5050 power amp. Okay, you guys, let's check out this Syn2 and Syn 5050 by Synergy. This is a 50 watt per channel power amp. It sounds amazing. It also sums mono to 100 watts, or bridges mono to 100 watts. I'm actually going to go ahead and demo it in mono in the 50 watt mode. It sounds killer like that, and if you like it like that, then obviously you're going to like it doubly in stereo. Now the little bit of noise you're hearing from it is actually the fan. So do not be alarmed. It's just a fan. It's just a fan. So the Syn2 preamp and modules, I'm going to stick to the same modules that I used for the little performance song at the top, just so you guys can hear them. I'm not going to demo these in depth as far as the modules, because at some point I'm probably going to go ahead and do 11 quick demos of the 11 modules they have now. But for now, what I really want to do is just kind of get into showing you guys the just kind of the platform and how this works if you were to use it basically as the Syn2 with 2 great modules into the Synergy 50 watt amp, as well as demo the direct out. Now, one thing I think I didn't mention in the first talking points is the Syn2 preamp is a stereo preamp. So it's stereo main outs and stereo XLR outs with the cab simulator that can be bypassed. Now, when I do the direct with the cab sim out, I don't want to have this turn into like an IR demo. I think the cab simulator sounds great, but if you've got IRs that you love, that's going to work really well, obviously, and will be more tailored to what you like. But I'm really impressed with how the cab simulator on the XLR out sounds. So let's just start. I'm gonna start with the blue channel on the Morgan AC. I'm gonna be switching via the Synergy pedal that I showed you in the first talking points. That thing works great, makes it seamless. So yeah, here's the first sound. Sounds great. Now, one thing I will point out really quick is if you want it to be a little more chimey up top, you can throw the bright switch on either channel and add top end to it. But I like it a little bit warmer. That's kind of to each his own. So that's the first channel. We'll go to the second channel now, which is the red channel of the Morgan. And it's got basically just a little more gain. That for my kind of crunch stuff that I was doing in the actual performance demo on like a back humbucker kind of thing. Just that slightly broken up kind of AC30 vibe really sounds great. So that's the Morgan channel. Now we'll go to our higher gain stuff, which is on the Soldano SLO, which is a much higher gain module. But that was kind of the whole point, was just to give a big contrast. There's so many different modules you could choose from, but I just thought this would be cool to just kind of contrast 2 completely different amplifiers in one rig. So just real quick, clean tone, semi-broken, and then we'll go to our blue channel on the SLO. That's a great sounding channel. The one thing I really dig is on all of these, all of the masters are separate per channel. So you can have them so they're basically unity gain if you want, but if you want them bumped, you can do that. And I haven't noticed like huge like tonal variables by turning them down or up. I haven't felt like, oh man, if I have the you know, gains up on my cleans and then way down on this, it's not going to sound as open. I haven't seen that as an issue. It's been really dialable. Now what I liked about the blue channel of the SLO is, of the Soldano SLO, is it kind of has more mids than the red channel. So it sounded really great for the solo on that black Stratocaster that I have. The LSL, I just did the back position and it sounded really good for that. But it's also cool for just that barky crunch tone. Of course, we can go to our higher gain channel, which is the red channel of the Soldano. So I just switched to the blue channel real quick. So that's basically it. I mean, you're getting 4 just killer boutique channels in one module, driving an insanely good sounding power amp. Now the one thing I'll say about this power amp is one of the reasons it's so good sounding, and I wasn't surprised that it turned out to be such a good amp, is it was designed by Stephen Fryette, who's just a really, really talented amp builder. And by the way, he's the same guy that developed the circuit for that the sag control, which basically kind of emulates like the voltage kind of drop in an old vintage amplifier, or voltage sag. It's more felt than heard, but it really, really feels great, especially when you're going to run direct. So yeah, that's kind of the vibe, man. Here's, you know, we'll just bump through them real quick. So what I'll do next is I'm going to go ahead and power this guy down, and I'll let you guys hear the direct sound. Okay, now we're set up to run direct with just the cab sim, the XLR out, and I'm basically going to just run through the channels the same way I did before. So let's just start with the Morgan AC blue channel. Sounds great. Let's go to the blue channel. Now let's go to the blue channel on the Soldano. Sounds killer. The only thing I did to kind of make up for what we were missing on the mic and the amp was I added just a little bit of the mids because I wanted that bark back, the speaker bark. And now let's go to the red channel. it sounds and feels great, and like I said, what helps in the just the feel department is that sag control really just makes it feel ampy. So there you go. The AC, the red channel on the AC, the blue channel on the Soldano, red channel. So that's it. It to me it sounds really great. But like I said, if it sounds great with the cab sim that they have on board, then you know, if you've got IRs that you dig, then it's going to work really well. Just pick one and dial it in and go. So that's the demo on the Syn2 dual module preamp and the Synergy 5050 power amp. Obviously go to the website with further questions, synergyamps.com. And as always, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.